Today is my last day in Mallorca, and my plan is to see how fast my hired e-bike can go up one of the major climbs. I'll record my ascent up the climb and I'll narrate it as I go. I'll see you on the climb and hopefully at the top. The climb I selected wasn't the biggest or steepest on the island, but it did go up into the mountains on the north coast. It started at this place called Caimari and it ascended about 8 kilometers, gaining around about 400 meters in elevation. So that equates to about a 5% on average climb, and finishing at this place, the Coll de Batalla. There are quite a few Strava segments on this climb. I picked out just 3. The first is the full 8-kilometer climb, which is shown on the left. In the middle is the first half of the climb, which is actually the steepest bit at 6.1% on average. The top half of the climb is less steep and has more of a sawtooth type profile, with some short, sharp uphills, but also some slight downhill sections. I would expect the e-bike to be more beneficial on the steeper sections. Although the motor does give the bike a lot of oomph, it does cut out at 24 kilometers an hour. As far as the rider is concerned, that's me. I tip the scales at about 90 kilograms. I'm not a good climber, so on the uphills it's not really possible for me to pedal the bike beyond its cut-off speed. I've just started my first Strava segment and I've got the bike on tour mode. Currently going up this slight climb at about 24 kilometers an hour. Only about 4% at the moment. Once I get out of the town, I'll turn the power up. Oops, I think I just frightened a cat. Still on tour mode. %. Still doing about 24 kph. Right, there we are, 7.9 kilometers, 5% on average. It's a busy climb. Right, now I've gone up to sport mode. Again, basically I'm almost topping the speed out. 24 kilometers an hour. If I press a bit harder, the motor will probably turn off. Here's my first hairpin. To be a bit careful about putting the power down. Another hairpin. Again, just be a bit careful with the power. And almost topped out there. %, 24 kilometers an hour. As a reminder, this is still on sport mode. Don't think I need turbo. In fact, I go down to tour I have to put a slight extra effort in, but I haven't slowed down. I think I'll go back to sport. Again, being careful on these hairpins, because the bike can take you into them quite fast. Slowing down for the hairpin. 20 kilometers an hour around the hairpin, and almost straight away back up to 24. Despite being in sport mode, I'm still putting a fair amount of effort in. This chap's going well. Still doing 24 kph. The bike's on the edge of turning off, so it's probably doing about high 23s. Slowed down a little bit. 23 now, sorry, 23 kph. Slow here considerably. I want to get past these cars. Being a bit of a nuisance. Bit of a hold up there. Damned cyclists. The next few kilometres were fairly uneventful, although I did have a couple of other traffic hold-ups. I then crested the rise at the end of the last Strava segment, where I made an excellent finishing speech, but I forgot to put my microphone on. With the e-bike underneath me, I had high hopes for the Strava segment times. So let's take a look at how we, the bike and I, did. Strava offers a huge range of data for each segment, so I have to be selective. I'll be looking at all times recorded in 2024 for the 3 segments that I showed earlier. It turns out that 2024 restriction is not that kind to me, as the weather has been good and there have been a lot of pros and top amateurs riding this year. I'll start with the segment on the lower part of the climb, then I'll do the upper part, and then I'll do the whole climb segment. There are some inconsistencies in the Strava results which I can't explain, so I'll just take them at face value. Links to the 3 Strava segments will be in the description. Okay, let's take a look at those times. The KOM for the segment on this lower part of the climb is held by a pro, presumably in out-of-season training. I have a time deficit of just over 3 minutes and a speed deficit of 3.6 kilometers an hour. My average speed was just less than the cut-off speed for the motor, which makes sense, as the hill was constant uphill and I was bumping against the cut-off for the motor. My ranking of 201st place was disappointing at first. However, when I calculated it, it meant that I was in the top 2.3% of riders. I don't know how many of those ahead of me were also on e-bikes, perhaps some unrestricted, but there again, this might just be me getting my excuses in early. Again on this segment, the KOM is held by a pro, although my speed deficit this time is even more. As you can see here, my average speed is higher than the motor cut-off speed. This is because on the uphill I could maintain 24 kph, yet on the small downhills I could well exceed the cut-off speed for the motor. On this segment I was in the top 2.2%, which surprised me, as I thought the e-bike would favour the steeper lower section more. The KOM for the full length of the climb is yet again held by a professional cyclist. And yet again my time is well up and my average speed well down on the KOM. However, I'm still in the top 2.2% of riders ascending that climb. Clearly, a restricted e-bike, even a fairly powerful one like the one I hired, can't turn me, a 65-year-old average cyclist, into a pro. It can, though, turn me, a crappy climber, into a pretty good climber. I'll restrict my excuses only to the full climb. First, I lost some time behind queuing cars. I estimate about 20 seconds in total. Secondly, as I indicate in the link in the top right hand corner, the e-bike motor cut out at 24 kph instead of 25, and therefore it was about 1 km an hour slower than it could have been. Taking these two handicaps into account, this is where I would have come on that Strava leaderboard. Faster, but still not professional standard. My dreams of becoming a professional cyclist have been well and truly shattered by this exercise. Ultimately, though, I should be judging it by, did the e-bike help and did I enjoy riding it? Obviously, the e-bike did help in terms of speed, but in a way, I found it a bit too powerful. It was doing too much of the work for me. This did impact on my enjoyment, or rather satisfaction. I think, on reflection, I would have preferred a less powerful e-bike, one that forced me to do more of the work. Ultimately, I would have found that more satisfying. Sometimes it's not about power and speed, it's how it makes you feel. And this e-bike made me feel like a cheat. As the saying goes, less can be more. I hope you found this video interesting or enjoyable, preferably both. If you did, please consider subscribing and give me a thumbs up, as that really helps the channel out. Also, I'd love to read about your experiences in the comments section. So from me, until the next video, it's goodbye.